restrictions and quarantine measures are keeping people from visiting many of the world's most sought-after travel destinations. One country known for its natural beauty and majestic beaches is welcoming guests from all over the world, the Maldives. I'm Lara Dawood from Qatar Travel Mart, and welcome to the 4th edition of QTM webinars entitled Maldives Tourism's Recovery Initiatives. Joining us today are the country's most influential tourism officials. Before introducing all our valuable speakers, we'll play a video to remind all of us how captivating the Maldives is. Participants, kindly note that you are muted. However, you may type your questions in the chat box, which will be addressed by our speaker at the end of all their topics and talks. Let us start with Honorable Dr. Abdulla Mausoom, the Minister of Tourism, Maldives. Dr. Mausoom holds a doctorate degree in the Sustainable Tourism Development conferred by the School of Public Policy, University of Birmingham, as well as spent over 10 years abroad for higher education in England, Northern Ireland, Germany, and Malaysia. Formerly, he served as High Commissioner of the Republic of Maldives to the Republic of Singapore and New Zealand. Furthermore, he held Maldives government's portfolios as Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, and as Minister of Environment, Energy and Water. He also headed the Maldives Tourism Promotion Board and was a key player in the post-tsunami tourism recovery campaign of the Maldives, and currently the general manager of the largest resort in the country, the Sun Island Resort and the Spa. It's a pleasure hosting you today, Honorable Dr. Mausoom. Our second speaker is Mr. Thoyyib Mohamed, Managing Director of Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation. Mr. Thoyyib served as the State Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture during the term of former President Mohamed. With over 14 years of experience in the area of management, this brought him extensive experience in strategic planning, decision-making, and international networking, with emphasis on fostering creativity in the executive management level. We are honored to have you, Mr. Thoyyib. The third speaker is Mr. Abdulla Ghiyas, who is currently Pacific Asia Travel Association Maldives Chapter Chair. Abdulla Ghiyas is part of Face of the Future 2018 and former president of the Maldives Association of Travel Agents and Tour Operators Matado, which he has led over the past 4 years. He is also the deputy of the consulate of the Republic of Seychelles to the Maldives. We are delighted to have you today, Mr. Ghiyas. Our fourth speaker is Mr. Ahmed Afrah, one of the founding members and the president of the National Boating Association of Maldives since December 2019. In addition, Mr. Afrah is presently a board member of Maldives Marketing and Public Relations Corporation and an executive director of Canopus Maldives. We are so glad to have you join us today, Mr. Afrah. Our fifth speaker is Mr. Murad Hassan, who is currently the Director of Business Development of Villa Hotels under the umbrella of Villa Group, which owns and manages 5 exclusive island resorts, which are amongst the finest in the Maldives. Additionally, he had a background in the world-famous booking platform Agoda for 9 years, heading business development for Agoda in UAE, Singapore, and Malaysia. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Murad. Now, before we begin our session, it would be good to get an idea of our attendees' views as far as traveling to the Maldives is concerned. Our simple poll question, I will share the poll now with you, our attendees. So, our question is, how confident are you right now of traveling to the Maldives destination? Very confident, somewhat confident, not confident at all, unsure. Please, our attendees, vote. So far, that most of our attendees are very confident to travel now to the Maldives destination. The percentage is actually 53% of our attendees. We will launch the poll again after all the presentation of our speakers to see our attendees' opinion again. So, therefore, let us begin with the Honorable Dr. Abdulla Mausoom for us to know more of Maldives' health and safety for tourists, current standard operating procedure, and opportunity in crisis. The floor is yours, Dr. Mausoom.
Thank you very much, Lara. Thank you. Thank you, Qatar Travel Mart, for having us, and very good to meet with my colleagues at this webinar. I think just now the question you showed, it is missing one more point. It should have very confident as one choice. That should be the starter.
I'm sure that our attendees will be very confident after this at the end of our webinar.
All right. You know, indeed, I think Maldives, you mentioned earlier, it's a sought after destination, definitely. We say, you know, sometimes you see a video or a photo, but sometimes you complain that when you come to that place, the photo or video is not representing, the place is not much worse than the photo or video. In the Maldives, it's always the other way around. When people visit here, they see it and say, oh, the video is not good enough, the photo is not good enough, Maldives is so beautiful. So that is the Maldives story. That is how it is. That is how people know Maldives, and that is how we ended last year, 2019, with Maldives gaining popularity as ever, becoming popular every day. And then we all faced this crisis, this situation. And Maldives was very hardly hit because tourism was our main industry. And when the industry is badly hit, it impacts everyone. Yeah. There was a need for government to think how to go about this. We had to restart tourism. So our president, His Excellency, President Ibrahim Muhammad Solih, made a very bold decision to start the tourism, start the Maldives borders. That is a very important decision for the country. That decision was made with strong commitment from the industry partners, because that is the way forward. So when we opened the borders, because we don't have an internal economic activity, one thing that the government and the private sector, all our people wanted to make sure was that we do in absolute safety. We wanted to move forward with absolute safety. Safety for the tourists, safety for the staff in the various establishments, and safety for the community. So that is the model. Maldives, we are working to go ahead with the tourism, and we are doing pretty well. The progress has been very promising. So with regard to the safety, Maldives naturally is very safe, because this situation calls for social distancing, and Maldives tourism is socially distanced. Millions of people who have been to the Maldives before, they know. Millions of people who see the Maldives information, they know that Maldives is socially distanced. So one of the aspects is the one island, one resort concept, where the resorts are scattered very far from each other. And in the resorts, the development also is not congested. We have very much individual rooms, individual villas, chalets, bungalows, very far from each other. So the guest experience is totally isolated. Then the other one is safari sector, boat sector, very isolated. You have the beautiful Maldives sea and lagoons and that mesmerizing underwater, and you have your own boat away from all the trouble. So we are geographically, our tourism is so, we are totally isolated. So that provides a natural safety net. But that was not enough for us. The government decided we have to have certain things. So one thing is we made sure that we have it in a regulated form, and Health Protection Agency and tourism industry partners, they discussed what are the ways we can do about it, and they came up with a very sound standard procedure guidelines. These are above the World Health Organization's recommended guidelines, more than that. So these guidelines are established with consultation from private sector. So when HPA, Health Protection Agency of Maldives, formulate these guidelines, it is very easy to implement. Then one of the things we wanted to make sure was, because these hotel properties, once we opened the borders on 15th July, we gave license for the resorts and also safari boats, liver boats. So these places have got very good standards, and tourists who come to Maldives, they need to get this, their booking, they need a confirmed booking. That's one of the things. So we know that they are going to a registered place, and these places get licensed only when they meet the criteria, safety criteria, when they meet the safety. The other one is the negative border testing that is mandatory. So all the tourists who come to Maldives, they come to Maldives with a negative PCR test. So that makes that you can go to a resort and enjoy, you can go to a safari vessel and enjoy with even mixed nationalities, knowing that your friends, nearby neighbors, other tourists also have got a negative PCR test. Slowly, we are going to open the guest houses very soon on 15th October. So that one also, we have got a very strong standard established. Now, with regard to HPA's guidelines, I'm very happy. The industry is doing more than what HPA wishes, because all the resorts, they want to make sure, all the safari vessels, they want to make sure they get good comments. They get good reviews with regard to safety from their guests. And of course, we have the standard green lane procedure in all the airports, where you get standard screening, standard social distancing, everybody wearing masks. So the standard global way of living during this situation is in place. We are having very good progress, because out of the resorts, we have already 104 resorts open. That is nearly 25,000 beds there. And we have got 111 safari boats now operation, that is 2,000 plus beds. So out of the 51,000 beds in the Maldives, more than half are now in operation. That is very good. The arrival figures are very promising. We have this week, we have beat daily arrival of 1,002 times. So that is a very good sign. Thanks to all our partners, especially the airlines who are bringing guests, and also the resorts and other tourist services, safari vessels, and other tourism travel agents who is working to achieve these targets. The total arrival is now 20,700. Very good, because we started with 0. And when first Qatar airplane landed after the opening, that was a celebratory day on the 15th July. Now we have got many airlines coming. We have got 2 coming direct from Europe now. Then the traditional ones are operating to Maldives. We have yet to start some coming from East. All in all, we are very hopeful that we should be able to welcome 2021 in a jubilant mood. We shall work together hand in hand to ride through this wave, and we see promising days, and we see 2021 as a year that we could really come out of this and see a kind of a normalcy. I would like to thank all our travel partners in the Maldives, and all the tourists, all the airlines, all the governments who are working with us to give them a chance to experience the beautiful Maldives. Of course, the test and tracing, is a trend, and we are doing it. And we hope that in the coming days, scientists will come up with a more convenient, much faster way of testing, and so that also it will be affordable. All in all, I think that is what I wish to say. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity, giving me the opportunity to say a few words here. I am very happy that we are having this webinar. Qatar Travel Mart shall shine and continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Mausoom, for tackling such an important topic. Dr. Mausoom, I think these protocols and standard operating procedures are working so good so far since your July 5th reopening. My question now, what do you think, in which areas do the Ministry of Tourism of Maldives has to focus more on terms of bringing back the confidence of its international tourists? And what are the ministry's next step forward?
Thank you very much. I think the tourists have confidence in Maldives now. They are waiting for an airline to bring them here. Yeah. But small thing. Some countries, they have quarantine upon return. You know, when you come to Maldives, you get that beautiful tan, and they don't want to go and stay home without showing the tan to your friends. So that upon quarantine upon home is a small thing that need to be addressed, and it is being addressed because we are going towards exit PCR test more, and many countries are relaxing the home quarantine. We are very happy because when we have 20,000 tourists, so far we don't have to hospitalize a single tourist because of this situation. We had to treat one tourist in a facility for 5 days, but he also later went and finished his holiday in one of our isolation facilities, that is a resort. So tourists here, they can continue doing that. Even they have symptoms, they can continue having their holiday in the resort away from everybody else, still enjoy the holiday. So we have learned to live with this and move with this with safety in mind, safety in place, safety ensured to everybody, for the tourists, staff, and the local communities. Now, one very good news, Lara, is we are going to introduce travel insurance very soon. Okay. That will be very good, because sometimes in a situation like this, especially when countries ask you not to travel out, insurance policies don't work. It doesn't cover their medical situations. With the introduction of this travel insurance, tourists will be able to book that, and the facilities, our resort, safari operators, and guest houses that we are going to open soon, they will ask them to submit the insurance proof to make the booking. So that will be very good, and less headache, less hassle, and I think it will be a confident booster. So that is one major thing that's going to happen in the coming days. One thing we are very happy about, Lara, is the comments we get from the tourists. You just have to scan through the Instagram or other social media platforms that everybody who comes to Maldives, they are very happy. They are really happy. So all in all, we will continue to make sure that we move with this situation. We will ensure that safety and security for tourists, staff, and the local community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mausoom. Thank you for sharing these great initiatives. Thank you again. We have a lot of questions addressed to Dr. Mausoom. I will be asking them during the session. Now, after being oriented of Maldives health and safety protocols to safeguard its tourist safety, let us hear from our second speaker, Mr. Thoyyib Mohamed, who will discuss Rediscover Maldives. Mr. Mohamed, Mr. Thoyyib, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Lara. It is a great pleasure to meet you all this webinar hosted by Qatar Travel Mart. to talk about Maldives tourism's recovery initiatives. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of Qatar Travel Mart for initiating to arrange this webinar. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has unprecedented in its scale. It's difficult times. And how we worked from the beginning? From the beginning, we worked with a very positive attitude. In the early stages of the pandemic, we were uncertain of where this was heading. But when we gained hope from past experiences with crisis, although they were very different in nature and scale. During April and May, when the world was in virtual lockdown, the question of when travel could begin was in all of our minds. However, we started getting a sense of how this would evolve. Many questions remain unanswered. After the first wave has passed, how will the governments avoid subsequent outbreaks? How successful will public authorities be? And all these questions are still in the field. While the question of when business will resume was important to all of us, we focused on maintaining our brands and sustain the position we have gained. As you would know, the marketing campaigns we have launched, Visit Maldives has launched, our plan for the year were totally disrupted. However, we did not stop our marketing efforts. We adapted and re-strategized our campaigns to suit the circumstances in our source markets. We shifted our campaigns to online platforms. Our focus was on empathy first. We made our content more lighthearted and we began our visit later messaging meant for people to see and dream about the Maldives. We worked together with the industry, resorts and guest houses, liveaboards, also adapted to the visit later messaging. If we look at the work of MMPRC, which is the Visit Maldives, we were and we continue to be fully functional online. We work to ensure that our marketing effort continues. We adapted to the change in situation in the Maldives, as well as that of our main source markets. We were constantly in touch with our marketing partners in source market countries during the period, updating them on the situation in the Maldives and at the same time getting updated on the situation in those countries with regard to future travel. We were taking part in online discussions with international and regional tourism organizations and getting an understanding of how things are evolving in this international tourism sector. And we were regularly in touch with industry stakeholders in the Maldives through online meetings, getting their views as well. At the same time, we began strategizing and planning on how we are going to relaunch our marketing efforts and began to get ready to roll out our marketing when the time comes. We knew countries were likely to open their borders for inbound and outbound travel on the level of country control they achieved in curbing the spread of the diseases. We knew source market governments will also look at the controls in place before they will allow the citizens to travel to and back from various destinations. During our planning, we factored in that details such as measures taken at public touch points, such as airports and social distancing in domestic air, sea, land, and transfers will become important factors. And also that hotels and resorts have to communicate the steps they have taken to ensure the safety of their guests. Maldives is lucky to have been endowed with our unique natural geography, as His Excellency Mausoom has just mentioned. We plan to capitalize on our key USP, or the unique selling point of one island, one resort that would help offer a contained, safe environment for holidaymakers and offers us the opportunity to promote the Maldives as a relatively safe destination compared to many other destinations. We had faith that we can successfully adapt our marketing to suit the situation. So opening up the border for tourism and the Rediscover Maldives campaign started. I'm sure you will have more questions, and so I could continue telling about the Rediscover Maldives campaign as well.
So Thank you for sharing your insights with us, Mr. Thoyyib. Now my question is, definitely Rediscover Maldives is one of your ongoing campaigns. What are the other ongoing campaigns that you are running, and how was it received by the international audience?
On 15th July 2020, the Maldives opened its borders, definitely. And after 110 days of closing the borders. But we have to do it. The opening of our borders for tourism was a courageous decision, as again told by His Excellency, the Minister also just mentioned. And it is a very, very bold decision, in my opinion, to be the first to do so, to demonstrate a level of confidence to the global travel market. We were the first to give an opportunity to cater to the pent-up need to escape from the stress of being under the lockdown for people around the world. With that, we launched our Rediscover Maldives campaign, inviting people around the world to relive the happiness and to rejoice in the sun. The campaign was launched on social media platforms. Online campaigns were held to promote the theme as well. At the early stage of planning, we also looked at the potential in the neighboring markets, as people would have felt safer to travel distances at time of crisis. India, for example, was the second largest source market for us last year. Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and Taiwan are also among the top source markets. UAE was, of course, very important for us. Today, from what we achieved in terms of arrivals, we have not been able to reach our targets so far, mainly because of the circumstances in the source markets. Major source markets are still under various levels of restrictions on travel. And most of all, airlines have just only begun operating to Maldives gradually. Looking at however, we are seeing airline operations increasing. Flights from Russia which began last month, has already shown some results. Russians were the top source market for arrivals last month. Now, with British Airways starting operations, we are very confident that we will see arrivals from UK increase as well. Emirates has increased its frequency, and major other European source markets. So our current marketing objective is to communicate to the world that Maldives is a safe haven for visitors, and that it is one of the safest places to visit during this time due to the measures. This includes creating awareness on the process of arrival and other different means. At the same time, we continue our messaging rediscovery, reminding the market of the beauty and tranquility of the country offers, and the freedom one gets once they get here. The freedom to enjoy all the activities at resorts with confidence that they will not get into contact with random people as they enjoy their holidays. So, strategy and objects of the future. We will promote the Maldives brand under an umbrella that will unify the various options that are available, that will include resorts, guest houses, liveaboards, and hotels. At the same time, focused campaigns will be held to promote the more affordable options for holidaying in the Maldives. A new focus will also be given on segmental promotions. Diving, surfing, and experiences on liveaboards will be promoted as individual. Rejuvenation of traditional source market is also one of our strategies for the coming year. We have planned to create a new appeal for the Maldives for the younger generations in the traditional source markets such as Italy and Germany. There is vast scope for expansion in the major source markets in Asia as well. Huge potential for growth in the Indian market, both for the luxury segments as well for guest house experiences. We will be making a huge effort to expand the market in India through targeted campaigns for various markets. Although the Chinese market has been #1 in terms of arrivals,
yes,
we will work to re-energize the market.
Actually,
so,
Mr. Thoyyib, yes, just to mention here for the Chinese and the Asian countries, we have a question to you and to Dr. Mausoom from Mr. Jing. Have the Maldives started bilateral talks with Asian countries to create specially green channels so they don't need to go through quarantine when returning to the Maldives. Just to, I mentioned these questions while you're mentioning or you're noting about your relation or bilateral relations with the Asian countries. Can you elaborate, please, Mr. Mohammed and Dr. Mausoom?
Thank you very much, Laura. Yes, indeed. We want them to go back, and as you can say, already we have established with India, there is a green travel lane established, and we are in communication with even Singapore. We are waiting for the government approval. All the travel partners are ready to start, and more than travel partners, the tourists are eagerly waiting to come. They just need an aeroplane to hop onto. We were told that even Italy will make a decision on 7th October. So we are in negotiation. We are talking, and I'm very happy that all the governments are very pleased with the safety we have in the Maldives. As Mr. Thoyyib mentioned, and as you would hear from my colleagues, Ghiyas, Afrah, and Murad, that our system, our way, how the tourism is arranged itself is very safe. So, and many ambassadors who are based here and also based in Colombo. And of course, many tour operators, travel agents, and even tourists, they know how the Maldives is. With bilateral talks as well as the experience from them, we hope that the home quarantine aspect will come relaxed in the coming weeks.
We hope all that too. Mr. Thoyyib, from Mr. Jink also, I have a question for you. What is specific recovery message for China market?
As I said before, our main messaging is it's one of the safest haven in the world, and as Minister has mentioned as well, the geographical formation is of course the one of the main. And to answer your question, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the President's Office, Tourism Ministry, everybody is working towards achieving this. I mean, to get some sort of a green light. But we should also understand that it's not only the green light that is, it's the source markets itself is just creating a domestic travel within that region so that their economy will also be maintained. So these things, economic situations also has to be taken into consideration. It's not only that it's not that we are not safe. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you, Mr. Thoyyib, for engaging us with the Maldives again. We still have questions for you from our audience. We will address them during the session. Our third speaker now is Mr. Abdulla Ghiyas, who will walk us through the importance of working with local DMCs during the crisis. Mr. Ghiyas, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura. I think time hasn't been as relevant as it is now for local DMCs. If you look at it from two different perspectives, from a traveler or a DMC, travel is today becoming more complicated than ever. We are living in a very dynamic time with constant changes in terms of new policies or procedures or guidelines as we are all combating this virus. So you need somebody like a local DMC on the ground to help you navigate through this. And also a local travel advisor or a travel advisor who will be on top of what's new, what's exciting, what are the best offerings or what are the best deals. I think this will also help you save a lot of time and stress. Today, very limited people are traveling, as we all know. And it is, I think, very important that we take this very, very seriously, especially the health and safety of our guests. There is no space for do-overs for a vacation when it goes wrong, given that there is various challenges of multiple testing or even unfortunate quarantine sometimes. Having that human element, an element of trust in this equation, I think is very important. And if you look at any other alternative with a local DMC, I think this is more relevant today. You need someone where you can pick up the phone and call somebody who is again on the ground and see what's really happening, someone who is available 24 hours around the clock or even during emergencies. And if you look at from a sustainable point of view, working with locals, I think it's supporting the local community, creating local jobs, so sustaining local jobs in this case now, and also stimulating the economy. More revenue for these businesses means more taxes for the government as well. There is foreign currency that stays in the country. Now, Maldives is going through a huge challenge of foreign currency shortage. And I think this is also something that helps bridge that and also building or helping to build the local human capital.
Thank you, Mr. Ghiyas. Can you share with us, please, what are the current measures that Maldives local DMC is taking to keep their business afloat within the crisis?
It is certainly a very challenging time for everyone, as we know. Everyone in this business, especially in the Maldives, having 5 or 6 months without hardly any income, I think has to have severe constraints on cash flows. People have looked at cost cutting, surviving on bare minimum. There has been limited instruments in the market for working capital loans and other sorts of equity injections. Even as an association, we have reached out to the government from day one, and they have also supported us in various different ways. And even going forward, I think we will still need various stimulus for this industry and also various other related or dependable industries. Keeping businesses afloat in the context of local health guideline, I think a lot of businesses, especially DMCs, are following the proper measures in office. Even at the airport, when I go and see that, right social distancing or physical distancing, masks, hand sanitizers, and we're trying our best to have limited people in closed spaces. I think it's wonderful to make the work environment as safe as possible for our staff. But we are also able to, I think, being in this sector, I know a resort, a labor board is very different, but a local DMC, I think, could also resort to remote working because we do not have a physical product as such. And I think it's also fair to say that local DMCs have survived in the last 48 years simply because of the way Maldives tourism had started and the way our logistics is. There was a limited role for DMCs, but I would say very proudly that we were the first, a lot of local DMCs were the first to venture into new markets that time, whether it is the Russians or the CIS or even Chinese or Middle East. And I think we have had this thinking out of the box, innovative strategies for survival. I already see a lot of businesses are embracing change. Definitely it is challenging. When we come out of this, I'm sure we will see an explosion of growth simply because people have been stuck at home. People are dreaming. People want to go on holiday. And I'm sure once there's a vaccine or when there is economic means, Maldives is among one of those dream destinations that is on top of people's minds. The appetite for Maldives, I think, has never been this right ever in our history.
Mr. Ghiyas, how does PATA help local DMCs since the reopening? Can you share with us briefly what are PATA's current initiatives?
I think we are talking in the context of PATA Maldives chapter, which is also co-branded as Matato Maldives Association of Travel Agents and Tour Operators since 2018. Early as February this year, Matato was on the Maldives Tourism Task Force. We worked from day one, even with other associations like the National Boating Association of Maldives, even the Guest House Association of Maldives, as I think it is required to have a collaborative effort because the challenge is humongous. We have met countless times with the various ministries, ministers, and other stakeholders. As you know, Matato, or the PATA chapter, is the non-profit NGO that was established in 2006. And in the last 14 years, we've evolved engaging different activities such as advocacy, trainings, organizing various workshops, media fan trips, the lobbying efforts, recognition programs such as awards, various publication, whistleblower programs, representation, and much more. And to help our members and local DMCs, we played a vital role. Like I said, when this pandemic started, things like the short-term financial instruments or aids that was given by the Ministry of Economic Development in devising that deferment of some of the taxes and waiving some of the fees, moratoriums on the bank loans. We also lobbied very heavily with the various utility companies on various flexibilities and easing. Again, like I said, we are lobbying for another stimulus to see what we can do to take this further in the next coming month, especially when 2021 starts, how we can look at our growth. And even from a humanitarian perspective, in the holy month of Ramadan this year, Matato partnered with the National Boating Association, Coca-Cola, and Red Crescent in Mantaya. We provided over 30,000 meals to the needy expats and homeless during that month. As far as the PATA head office is concerned, they've also been very proactive. I think it's fair to mention the Crisis Resource Center that they've set up for various members and governments. The Crisis Resource Center has various recovery toolkits. You can even create your own recovery planners, communication strategy guides, communication strategy planners, even have COVID sector kits for aviation, hospitality, tour operators, and SMEs. So they have also organized various webinars. I think even worked with or done a webinar for MNPRC, I think back in April with TripAdvisor, one of the first ones for various knowledge sharing. So yeah, that's about what I in the PATA chapter has been doing here.
That's very inspiring. Thank you, Mr. Ghiyas. Now, our fourth speaker is Mr. Ahmed Afrah, who will talk about connecting the global diving industry. Mr. Afrah, the virtual floor is yours. I'm gonna share your presentation.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you for Qatar Travel Mart for giving us this opportunity. Before I go on to the specific topic, I thought I would just tell a little bit about the liveaboard sector of Maldives. So if you could just start the presentation. Okay, I'll just start. This is quite brief presentation. When you really hear the name Maldives, the first thing which comes to our mind is our beautiful islands. The one island, one resort concept is quite synonymous with Maldives. However, there are two other uniquely important tourism sectors, which are the liveaboard sector and the guest house sector. So just to tell a little bit about the liveaboard, in short, it is a floating hotel. A liveaboard holiday presents an unrestricted opportunity to discover the best of Maldives, which is basically made of 99% sea. You have the option to customize your route to reach the best dive sites, best surf sites, fishing areas, or a remote island, which is rarely traveled. Next slide. So, a number of reasons a client will choose a liveaboard holiday. Main reason is the freedom and mobility, as you are not really restricted to the proximity of the island which you are going to be staying in. Plus, it is chosen a lot by serious divers and surfers who want to enjoy the activity to the maximum during their stay. It also offers a truly exclusive holiday experience for your friends and family. There are other reasons also, but these are the main ones. Next slide.
Next one.
Next slide.
Yes.
Yeah. So today we have a wide range of liveaboards which you can choose from. You get the budget option, which are the budget option, and also you get the very ultra luxury options. You can choose from a 3-cabin catamaran, which is ideal for a family cruise, or you can choose the 25-cabin steel hull ones, which you can have basically company gatherings and team outings. With over 125 liveaboards in Maldives, you are sure to get one which is ideal for you. Next slide. So most of the boats today offer all the facilities which you would expect to find in a hotel. You get the jacuzzi, spa, and other wellness facilities which you would normally expect from Maldives. And there are various other facilities also which are available. Next slide. Next slide. So these are just some of the photos. We can just run through them. Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful photos. Yes, Mr. Afrah. So you were
Yeah.
at
So Liverpool basically we get 4 types of trips. We get the diving, which is the majority of liverboats, and then we get the surfing. There are even boats which are specialized for fishing, and the ultra luxury ones which are very often used for cruising. Yeah. So just to summarize, a liverboat holiday gives you the opportunity to tailor make your dream holiday. You can just mix this and that and try to come up with your dream holiday to the Maldives. So basically, this gives you an idea of Maldives. Obviously, diving is a very, very important sector of a liverboat. We can close up the presentation. Diving is a key component, but I think going in line with the main topic of this webinar and following up on the presentation
yes.
from my colleagues, I would also like to highlight on the safety aspects which our liverboats have taken for the relaunch. Before the reopening of our borders in July 15th, our health authorities have prepared a comprehensive guideline for properties to follow in order to control and prevent infection and also to ensure the safety of every traveler to Maldives. From our boating association, we even prepared a health and safety plan which all boats can refer to. Each liverboat which have applied and received permit to restart operation will have an extensive SOP. And also the crew will be very well trained and they would have done multiple practice drills. There's an extensive list of steps which cover from the moment you land in the airport to the time we drop you back after for your departure. One of the most important thing is for each boat, guest house, resorts, also there's a safety officer who will be the key person in charge, make sure that our SOPs are in line with the health authorities' recommendation, train our teams, and make aware of the steps taken for our guests. Since this is a long list, I'll just summarize a few things. So even the airport representative who meet you as you exit immigration, he would have taken all steps to ensure that minimize the risk. From the time you board the transport vessel to when you go to the main vessel. When you go on the boat, the common areas are clearly marked where you need to wear your mask and where the areas are where you can leave your mask. Housekeeping, a very key area, is given a lot of emphasis. All proper PPE is taken when cleaning is done. Things like laundry, waste disposal, cleaning of common areas, putting a proper signage, all of these are looked at. Throughout the trip, the boat, the guest and the crew are not actually going to get onto any inhabited island for health reasons. But this doesn't mean that you don't get an opportunity to go onto a beach. You get many opportunities. You get to go on the sandbank, uninhabited islands. And if there is an emergency, you can always go on to the nearest health clinic for different reasons. Regarding the diving and water sports, especially the diving, these extensive steps taken to ensure that it's done with all due health measures. We are following the party recommended guidelines to ensure that all steps are taken. And also in the unfortunate case, one of our guests shows a symptom. Most of the boats will have a designated cabin where we can keep the person. until the PCR testing is done and results are obtained. If there is a positive case, then we move them as per the protocol to the nearest onshore facility. In short, liveaboards similar to resorts and guest houses have worked very closely with the health authorities to prepare our operations to meet and exceed the required health measures to ensure that Maldives is one of the safest places for your holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Afrah. That was wonderful presentation. Mr. Afrah, Maldives has one of the biggest fleet of lifeboats in the region, and this entire sector has come to a standstill, just like the resort and the guest house sector in the Maldives, with the lockdown of the border. Can you tell us, please, how the boating sector of Maldives has started to recover after the reopening of the borders?
That's a good question. We have over 125 registered liveaboards in Maldives. When the border was open in July 15th, very quickly we had about 112 boats which have applied and got the permission to restart their operation. This shows that from the boat owners, operators side, we see the demand from guests who want to come and enjoy the holiday in Maldives. So, I mean, we are very eager to start. However, obviously there's a lot of cancellations and date changes from trips being moved to next year, things like that. It's not because the guests are not wanting to come. It's mainly because, as Dr. Mausoom mentioned, there are restrictions when they go back to their country, like 14 days quarantine requirement. Even with those restrictions, I'm very happy to say that compared to last year, like let's say last month, when we compare it to last year, even with the 50% of the boats operating, we have managed to get about 25% of the income from boating sector of 2019 figures. This is a huge achievement compared to how much of a discount we have to give to our guests in order to encourage them to go, and other various steps which we have to take. So I think the reopening is coming well.
Yes, but what are the key challenges you face in operating in the new normal?
In Maldives, boats offer obviously the advantage of moving from one island to one island without being restricted to any particular place. However, there's a flip side. The flip side is that as you move along, sometimes it's difficult to arrange various things, supply and these things. However, with the reopening, with the operation in the new norm, we are now required to do PCR test for some airlines when the guests depart, and also some countries require PCR testing. So this has been one of the challenges which our association, along with government authorities, are trying to find a workable way to solve this. So PCR testing is a bit difficult, but we are working on it. And the other challenge is sometimes when there is an issue of quarantine, we try to find out a way where we can get a property which can accommodate our guests. So these kind of few challenges are there, but we are working and we are getting past this one by one.
Thank you, Mr. Afrah. Now, our first speaker is Mr. Murad Hassan. His topic will be the future of consumer holiday bookings and hotel offers. The virtual floor is yours, Mr. Murad.
Thank you, Lara. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Murad. We are sending greetings from Villa Hotels and the Maldives. Good thing is we are open. Now, the question that was sent to me, or the topic that I got, was about consumer holidays and bookings and hotel offers. A few things that we need to look back. When the Maldives started in 1972 with tourism, that was all about groups back then. And then we came to be more like individual travelers because people got a little bit confident. Then came new markets, also groups started again. Then those origin markets got confident. They started traveling in private, separately. Now, where we heading next? I foresee that we are going into hyper-customized offers in terms of dealing with customers. Why? But before going into why, let's look at what's actually causing this. If you really look at what's happening now, the COVID situation has put a significant limitation on mobility and travel. This is for a good reason, of course, for public safety. Many countries started closing their borders. This was affecting us in a negative way. Even if the tourists or the guests wanted to come to the Maldives, it was impossible for them to come. The second one was obviously those people who save for months or years to come to the Maldives. Now those savings are more important for other reasons than just travel. So that segment is now cut away. So we have a lower targetable range to achieve our revenue or arrival number goals. So those things have actually created the situation which we now have to adapt and address. Now, I'm hoping that continuing into the future, we will have a vaccine or some form of a solution to this situation. So potentially what's going to happen is the holidays will become a lot more private. Then that means less groups. Obviously, again, there will be private groups that may come in, but it will be more of less groups than more of more groups. So that is obviously for the reasons that we understand now. A significant shift to online and mobile is about to happen or is happening. This was the trend before, and I can't say it wasn't happening, but this has accelerated. This is something that we now see. Now more so with mobile. Now that's why I have put the hyper targeting right on top there to say, okay, next level obviously will be very much about private packaging, very specific targeting to the customers. So that is how hotels are going to sell. Phones allow us to personalize whatever we can to give to the customer. And this is not only applying to the hotels, this applies to our DMCs or everyone that supports us in selling. And we see actively a lot of companies adapting to these solutions to get to the customers. There is also increasing efficiency in technology to manage the full funnel or buying cycle of the customer. So we are able to assess it correctly, but also keep it with us because we know we can attend to it later. Know when the expected travel dates are because we know the cycle well. So what is in it actually, knowing what is going to happen? We see a lot of cancel and rebook. Unfortunately, it's something that we cannot stop because our original long-term booking cycle is gone. So for example, the winter booking cycle is now a little bit off because the days that we get for booking for winter is now gone. Now we have to do things that we have never done before. And that means we have to go with very highly curated packaging and activities to please our customers and bring them. So moving forward and getting to offer level, I foresee it is going to be hyper targeting by all of us because one, technology allows that. Two, that is the trend that is going to hold for a very long time. Millennials are going to do everything on the mobile. So this is where I see where we stand, and I can proudly say that at Villa Hotels, we are very well prepared for that. And we have invested in technologies to support our goal. And I see many other friendly hotels that we work with and we know are also investing in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murad. Mr. Murad, what is the current state of the Maldives hospitality since its reopening?
So, thank you for the question. I think we are doing great. We are very steady growth to recovery. Numbers are looking good for now. Yes, it always can be better. Again, keep in mind, but however we are ready or how much we are ready doesn't really mean anything. It is how ready our origin or our source countries are. So those countries should open, and we are here to bring their guests or tourists to this country, keep them safe, make sure they enjoy, send them back home. And we just hope that they don't get to do the 14 days quarantine upon arrival. So how we are doing great. And thank you for the leadership that we have now. It is really, really well. A lot of information is shared on time, and a lot of engagement with local and international tour operators to drive the messages that we want to. So it is building trust, and it is building the image of the destination as we go.
Thank you, Mr. Murad. Also, what are the current programs Villa Hotel Group is running to attract more tourists now?
Laura?
Can you hear me?
Yes. There was disruption. Few things that we are doing. As I mentioned before, customers were reluctant. What we did early days, before July 15th, we were testing to see what are the offers, what are the types of offers that customers respond to. And because we had a volume in the inventory, we were able to do a lot. And we found out what are the things that people actually react to easily, and we started adapting those. But more so, we went in, for example, we have a frontline hero offer because we want to thank the people who are on the front line and gave them a special deal. And it's very popular. We also, most important thing that we did was making all our bookings flexible. We understand the situation. Nobody is in a position where they can commit their money in and go away. So we make sure that it is messaged well, but also we made sure that it is across all platforms that we offer to our customers, the flexibility of canceling and rebooking. This is done because we know that people want to come, of course, but yesterday they had more money than today. Recovery. The other thing is all activities are available, obviously. So we are also messaging it right to make sure that people know that actually even during the COVID time, when they come to a resort, there's no change in the way that they experience the Maldives tourism. The only difference that we can recall, that I can recall we have, is that we don't allow the excursions to the local islands. Everything else flies. And of course, and we notice that guests stay away from high contact sports if there are any, which is really good. And in most cases, we don't offer them. And then to build trust, we've created touchless menus, to touchless check-in, to make sure that it is very important to build the trust in the product that we sell. And a lot of people measure it in different scale. So into a range that is acceptable to so many people. It was it's one of the largest resorts in the Maldives. And with this, we have 2 resorts running now, Paradise Island and Sun Island. In November 1st, we will be opening Royal Island.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Murad. Now it's time to address our audience's questions. I will start actually with Mr. Murad. Mr. Jing is asking, Are payments through Alipay and WeChat accepted?
Alipay, I have seen some hotels engage with Alipay, but unfortunately it's not widely used because the service provider is only one party and it may be a little too expensive for the hotels to take it up. While Alipay by itself is a cheaper acquiring option payment service. So I really hope that it will come to the Maldives in a big way. As it is now, I don't think we have Alipay as a payment service.
Okay, I have a question from Mr. Damian Johnson to Dr. Mausoom. What COVID procedures are in place at the airport and how it will affect the travelers to the Maldives? Dr. Mausoom, please.
Thank you very much. We have the standard system that you will find in any airport. That is basically the thermal screening. And in Maldives, the airport is now we have officials have had number of tours in the airport. We ensure that there is minimal contact. That is the key, minimal contact, safe distance. So all the tourists will be able to submit all the documents via our immigration main portal, Imuga, and they will be able to come through the total, finish the total arrival procedure without touching anything except for scanning their passport. Then, of course, when they come to the luggage area, they have the option to take a luggage trolley and take the luggage or take the luggage on their own. But both of these, even luggage trolleys and luggage, are disinfected. So the airports we have got we are establishing tourism ministry also have our staff in the airport to make sure that things go smooth. And we are very happy today, as Mr. Ghiyas mentioned, today we are working very closely with all the associations. So Levy Board associations is there, Travel Agent Association is there, Guest House Association, other associations are there, working very closely with you. So the procedures that is established is implemented with a self-implementation self-implementation mode. So we are very happy about the total procedures we have in the airport through their transport systems and in the tourist services. And you know that we have got other very interesting attractions like dive sports, surf sports, dive centers and water sports centers. We are hoping that these places also get utilized. All these places are very remote, very far away, totally safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mausoom. Mr. Thoyyib, I have a question from Mr. Guanhi. Is there a plan to educate other countries' governments on the COVID plans in Maldives? They're asking to be led by example.
I think Dr. Mausoom, all the other ministers can do that. I think it's really is the first of, I mean, somebody has to start rolling the ball first. And we have done, of course, there are so many challenges, but there are so many things other countries can learn from us. I was on a webinar with the Indian Travel Started Travel X this morning, and everybody, not a single destination was open. Yes, to answer the question, of course we can help, but there's nothing unique of what we are doing. I mean, in terms of, we are just following WHO guidelines. It's very simple. Simple in the sense, of course, it's not simple when it comes to adapting to it. First, I think Ghiyas has also just mentioned that there were so many financial issues within the private sector, but still the government ran all the quarantine facilities free of charge. Until recently, everything was free of charge. About more than 20 resorts were taken over by tourism ministry to host the quarantine facilities free of charge. And I think, yes, there are so many things other countries can learn, but we are doing it very simply. And I think it's working very well.
Yeah, okay. I have a question to Mr. Ghiyas now. Are you worried about the guest houses in inhabited islands since reopening will be slower than resorts in inhabited ones?
I mean, I think it is evident the fact that the guest houses are opening in 10 days time and not on July 15th. I must say that there was countless hours and even weeks that went into these guidelines. It's not something that we all decided to do overnight. There has still been a lot of discussions, and I think Ministry of Tourism and also HPA, the Health Protection Agency, is doing this in such a way that we can somehow try to mitigate the challenges that is there and do this in a way that is the best way possible. It's certainly not going to be easy. But the good news is, if you look at the last 2 months, the number of cases have, touch wood, been going down. And let's hope that stays that way. And I mean, globally, we are seeing a second wave in various parts of the world. And I think Maldives has definitely seen that earlier than others. And let's hope with the opening of guest houses, we'll be able to mitigate these challenges. There is definitely worry, but I hope the way we have so far managed it, which has not been easy, even the resorts, and I'm sure Afrah will tell the challenges with the liverboards. I hope even with the introduction, hopefully, of the insurance, all these different things will come in, because I think this is a learning curve as we go. September 10th, announced that we need a PCR negative test. That also came in, but I think all the different parts of this is coming as we go on. There is no formula out there or how we're going to do this. It's like as we go on, we are all working together to see how well we can do this.
Yes, regarding the travel insurance initiative, I have a question from Mr. Faith. Are you planning to partner with international travel insurance companies to cover the tourists visiting Maldives on all general, medical, and life insurance covers? Dr. Mausoom, can you elaborate more, please?
Yeah. Thank you very much. At the moment, the biggest hindrance is because when countries have travel kind of advisories as not for them to travel out of the country, travel insurance doesn't work. So the one we are introducing covers everything. But at the moment, we are looking at affordable travel package that will cater for the areas that is not covered in normal travel insurance. So, this insurance is so the most important component is it's cashless. Tourists will be able to utilize medical facilities in the Maldives, and also they will have the other benefits like traveling from resort to the location that is needed. These basic things are covered, and we are hoping to roll it out within a week or so. And I am very happy that I mean, insurance really is an important thing, and this insurance is coming out very soon.
So the next question is there a plan to share Maldives COVID plans to other countries? Or did you ask this question? Where can you find, or can we find link for COVID-19 procedure for arriving guests? Who can answer this question? Where can we find the link for COVID-19 procedure for arriving guests? I think Dr. Abdulla,
It will be, yeah. I think Dr. Mausoom is having technical difficulties. May I answer that?
Yes.
It is on Tourism Ministry's website as well. We also have it on our website, visitmaldives.com. And it is also available in HPA, which is the Health Protection Agency's website as well. And if anybody wants it, those guidelines are really long. So some very, as Ghiyas mentioned and Murad mentioned, it's really long versions. But we do have some shortened versions on Visit Maldives website as well. If anybody wants, please email us as well.
Sure, I will share.
Lara, sorry.
Yes, please.
Lara, sorry, I got disconnected. Very sorry about that. What I was saying that we are trading a fine line. We have to ensure that it's cost-effective, practical, and convenience, but without compromising safety. And that is the way we are moving. And this all is happening because of the commitment from the industry partners and the related authorities, our airports, our immigration, our health authorities, our police, and our National Defense Force. All of them are working with travel partners to make sure that we move on with this situation, and we are doing it. Thank God we are moving forward.
Dr. Abdullah, also I have a question to all our speakers. Please, if you can answer all. What do you think if in this situation there are foreign investors who want to invest in Maldives, and what strategy will you do for these investors? This question is from Mr. Ahmed Mashabi.
Thank you. I think this is a perfect question on a perfect day. Yes. We just celebrated our 48th anniversary for tourism, and yesterday we announced a superb new development opportunity in northern Maldives with a hotel and a yacht marina. The details are on our website. More exciting developments are coming in the south of Maldives, the Addu city, and the Formulang and Huadu atoll, and also in northernmost atolls. And we have got very prominent, promising developments planned. Just wait for a few weeks and you will hear from us. It's very exciting, I tell you.
Great. Mr. Thoyyib, Mr. Johnson is asking, has additional funding been allocated to online marketing ahead of the global festive seasons? And where it is being directed?
Yeah, yes. There have been so many changes in our marketing campaigns, as I said before. And currently, several campaigns are being carried out in key source markets, such as global campaigns with CNN, integrated webinar sessions in China, FVW in German-speaking markets, a campaign with Travel Weekly, and an outdoor campaign now we have started this week in the UK, very strategic locations. And bus advertising campaign in South Korea, TV advertising campaign with 360 in Russia, TV, and all these are, and of course, the travel trade through Travelata, Slated, and Squeeze in Russia. We also have an e-learning platform with Profit Travel targeted to educate the travel trade of Russia. So these are some of the areas where we are now carrying out ongoing campaigns. And in addition to this, several marketing campaigns are in the pipeline for the days ahead, including media campaigns, digital campaigns, joint promotions, outdoor advertisements as well, carried out within industry stakeholders, be it tour operators, airlines, and approached by industry partners. And we've been carrying out some of them with industry partners.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think before we end our today's session, we will look again at our polls result again and see if there has been any change in the audience views. We will run our poll question again. Please, our attendees, if you can vote. Well, now we have like around 80% of our attendees who are very, very confident of traveling to the Maldives destination. Thank you, our attendees. Thank you, our speakers. We have, yeah, it's apparent that our audience is eager and ready to explore the Maldives soon, actually. Before we close our today's webinar, I will give the floor to Mr. Abdulla Ghiyas, Vice President of Matato. Please, Mr. Abdulla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura. I'll keep this short. Thank you, Honorable Minister Dr. Abdulla Mausoom, Thoyyib Mohamed Afrah, and Murad Hassan for joining this very informative webinar. I hope it was as useful to everybody who joined as much as we enjoyed sharing this information here. Also to Abdulla Sood, President of Matato, for coordinating this, and Qatar Travel Mart for organizing this, who are the organizers of Next Fair, or the other organizers. We look forward to participating in the Qatar Travel Mart in 2021. As we all know, we are navigating ourselves in unprecedented times in an existential crisis. Maldives has taken the bold step of opening our borders on July 15th. And a few days ago, we marked 48 years of tourism in the Maldives. It reminds us then, 48 years ago, when the experts and naysayers said that it was impossible to thrive tourism in the Maldives. Again, we are in one of those impossible times, but what history has taught us is that Maldivians can work in impossible times and come out of this against all these odds. I think if we all work together, we are on the right path, and with the support of, again, all our international friends, tour operators and travel agents, as our livelihood depends on this, we look forward to welcoming you to a safer, enjoyable holiday destination as we invite you to rediscover Maldives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. We have yet again reached the end of our webinar, and we would like to thank all our distinguished speakers for their participation and for reminding us how fantastic the Maldives is, and for inviting us back again to enjoy its beauty. We would also like to extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Tourism, represented by the Honorable Dr. Abdulla Mausoom, the Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation, represented by Mr. Thoyyib Mohamed, Pacific Asia Travel Association-Maldives, represented by Mr. Abdulla Ghiyas, National Boating Association of Maldives, represented by Mr. Ahmed Afrah, Villa Group, represented by Mr. Murad Hassan, and Matato for making this webinar possible. We are looking forward to your valuable participation at Qatar Travel Mart 2021. And to all our participants and audience, we thank you for your continued support and see you next time. Thank you all and see you soon.